That's so right. We're here at the Academy Sporting Goods as well as the CCA Workbench, Rigs and Techniques, what we talk about every week here. My son, Captain Ridge Murphy's filling in for Dave. And Ridge, trout is certainly something that you guide for. So what kind of points do you want to make tonight?
Absolutely. You know, when we talk about trout, the first thing I think of is variety and quantity. Variety because they eat just about everything you throw to them. A lot of times, some parts of the state, you target them. Other parts of the state, they're kind of a bycatch. You know, you'll be snooker and red fishing and end up catching some nice trout. Absolutely. And so when we're targeting trout, what we want to talk about is there's two common rigs that we're going to use. And one is a noise-making cork, which when we're popping it, you're going to pop, pop, and pause. And that's with this one. And then you come down, you have a 1/4 ounce jig with a 4-inch sea shad. For the guys that want to use a little bit of scent, Bang makes these products, shrimp-scented products that you can spray on there or use other soft plastics that have a little bit of scent to them.
Right.
And so, like I said before, you just want to pop, pop, and pause. And what's going to happen a lot of times is the trout's going to come up and eat it on the pause. Right. So the rod, the cork will disappear. You rear down, you set the hook, and he's going to come up shaking his head. And it's very visual. It's great for kids, great for your, taking the family out and everything else. A lot of people's first fish are trout. I think mine was. It's true. And so then other rigs that you got would be the same rod, similar reels, and you just have a regular standard popping cork. And the nice part about this is from a rigging standpoint, all you got to do is tie your jig on, and you can add the cork. And so for the guys that don't want to get their bait suspended, they want it on the bottom, you can put a shrimp on this. You can put another soft plastic on there and bounce it along the bottom on these holes that they sit in. Right. And so for other guys that are a little bit more advanced, they want to do some topwater stuff, you got Bass Assassin makes a dye dapper. And that is you're going to reel with the rod tip up. Right. And that little paddle tail is going to sit there and make bubbles and everything else. Chartreuse for me is a good color. It's one of my favorite colors. It's very good. The trout tend to like it a lot. They also make another paddle tail bait. It's called the Little Boss. Little Boss is, the reason why I like this so much, Ridge, is it has these little ribs on the side. Yeah. And that actually gives you an additional vibration. It pushes a little bit more water. Absolutely. Now what about if you want to convert over to soft plastics or top water action? So this is what Bass Assassin calls their salty snack. And it doesn't have a paddle tail. So it sits up on top of the water and walks the dog just like a skitter walk would. And then the skitter walk, why do you think it's so effective? It's got the noise, it's got the rattles inside, it walks a dog. A lot of times you're pausing, and for whatever reason, a lot of saltwater fish don't like the pause, but the trout do. They'll come up, and 9 out of 10 times when you're pausing is when you're gonna get your bite. And so they also Rapala makes a thing called the twitching mullet, and that's another bait with inline hooks that doesn't really have treble hooks on it. And the last thing you wanna do is when you're holding a trout, is get it stuck in your hand, and you don't want to be wearing no plugs. And these are a lot safer for the fish too. Absolutely. Treble hooks at times can really be problematic for the fish. Absolutely. Storm also makes another hard plastic bait, or not a hard plastic, but a topwater. And that has a concave head, just like your popping cork would. And so it's called the chug bug. And so when you're chugging it along, you're twitching, pop, pop, and you're pausing. A lot of times it'll go underneath the water, create this big bubble trail and everything else. The trout's gonna come up and eat there too. Rapala makes the same concept, but it's called the X-Wrap Pop. Yeah. It comes in a variety of different colors. Different head, much bigger, but guess what? When you pop this, it actually will go under the surface. So now your bubble trail follows along the side of the hard plastic. Absolutely. What's the big mistake that people make? They see a fish come up and blow up on the surface. What do, Ridge? A lot of times, I don't know if it's because we've been watching Bill dance on TV for so long or what, but we're reaching down and we're rearing back on the rod. And yes, you need to do that, but you got to make sure the fish has it in his mouth before it happens, because then you're pulling it out of the fish's face. Keep twitching. And you just got to keep reeling. That's exactly right. Hey, Brie.
Oh my gosh.
I think he did a good job.
Over here. You guys
Way
are
to
doing
go, Ridge.
So
good job over here.
So cute. I thought I was going to be a little Murphy doubt, but you guys are really cute. Good job, Ridge.